Hi, I'm Helen and welcome to class. Today's practice will be a yoga class for joint pain, working on mobility in the shoulders and the hips and building some strength in the legs. Start in a comfortable seat. Spine is tall, shoulders relaxed, palms may be face down on the knees to represent grounding. And I invite you to close the eyes and center in on the breath. In this class today, we won't put any pressure on the knees, so no kneeling poses. We will work on some strength. It's important to build strength in the legs, in the muscles, to help support the knees. And it's also important to have mobility, to move our joints, because this is what keeps them healthy. Motion is the lotion of life. From here, slowly open the eyes. Extend the right hand out to the side. On an inhale, left arm sweeps up and across, coming into a lateral bend. You can keep the face forward or look down towards your hand, whatever feels good for your neck. Grounding that left hip, feeling the stretch down that left side body. And inhale back up and over to the other side. Keeping the right hip grounded, extending out of the waist. Shoulders are relaxed, jaw is relaxed. And then inhale back to center, arms come up. Rotate round to the right, using the strength of the spine rather than the hands forcing the twist. When we use the spine, that's mobility. When we use the hands as leverage, that's flexibility. Inhale back to center, exhale over to the other side. Lengthen in as you inhale, and as you exhale, maybe rotating just 0.5 millimeter more each time. Breathe in deep. Inhale back to center and release. We'll work through seated cat-cow. As you inhale, the chest comes up. And as you exhale, the back rounds and lean backwards. You can place the hands on the knees to help. Moving through the articulation of the spine in time with your own breathing pattern. As you come forward, it's the inhale. And as you go back, it's the exhale. Keeping the seat grounded. Easy breath, and then return to center. Lengthen out of the waist and then extend forward over your legs into a forward fold. I like to use a block here. It gives me a point of reference, something to reach for. Sit bones remain grounded, and this can be quite juicy on the hips, this posture. Inhale, come back up. Whatever leg you've got in front, rotate to face the opposite knee and lean out across that. Grounding that opposite hip. Keeping the back long. Breathing steady. Inhale, return. Switch the cross of the legs. And we'll do that little sequence again, first coming forward over the legs. You probably notice a big difference in the sides here. Habitually, we often cross the easiest side first. Inhale, come back up. Rotate to the opposite knee and lean out over that. Grounding down the hip. Back is long. Mind is quiet. And inhale, come back to center. Make your way into downward facing dog. Hands are around shoulder width apart, feet around hip distance, sit bone to the sky, upper back is wide, triceps rotated towards the ears. Bend the knees, maybe pedal out the legs, taking your dog for a walk, elongating the spine, and when you're ready, maybe start to settle the legs, descending the heels to the earth, they never have to touch. From here we will move to floating table 5 times. As you inhale, bend the knees and hover them above the earth, straight arm strength, and then seat comes back up to the sky. That's 1. Floating table, 2. Seat back to the sky. Coming forward again into floating table, back up. This is so great for the core. Floating table, that's straight arm strength, arms plugged into the shoulder sockets, back to the sky. Floating table, and seat comes back up to the sky. And from here we'll tiptoe walk all the way to the front of the mat, coming into a forward fold. You can bend the knees as much as possible, draping the belly on the thighs. You can also support the spine with the hands on the legs. Maybe swaying side to side. If you like, you can grab the elbows and come into ragdoll, releasing the lower back here, keeping the knees bent. Then bring the hands to the hips, engage the front spine, and come all the way up to standing. Ground both feet into the earth. Steady balance pose, palms to chest. Center in. And release the arms to the sides. Inhale, right arm lifts to the sky. And as you exhale, sweep it across the front of the body, moving through that shoulder joint. Inhale, left arm comes up. And as you exhale, sweep across. Again, right arm lifts to the sky, sweeping across the front of the body. And then the left arm reaches up, sweeps across the front. This time both arms come up to the sky, and as you exhale, bring them behind and interlace the fingers behind the back for a chest expansion. You can keep the elbows bent if this is a little challenging. Otherwise, you can extend the arms, keeping the wrists apart, or if you're very open in the shoulders, maybe palms together. You can stay standing, or if you like, fold over into a forward fold, allowing the weight of the arms to bring them closer to the earth. You can have the knees bent as much as possible. Consciously bringing those shoulder blades together. On an inhale, engage the front spine and come back up to standing, releasing the hands. Working on a little bit of leg strength. On an inhale, bend the knees, touch the earth, and lift the hands up for chair pose. You can have the palms at the chest if it's a little challenging with them extended above. Other ways, arms are shoulder distance apart, or you can bring the palms together, sitting into those thighs and the glutes. Breathing deep, and then inhale, stand up, palms to chest. Inhale again to chair. Sitting deep into those thighs, engaging the core, shoulders are relaxed, arms are straight, or a prayer at the chest. And return to standing. Inhale, right arm lifts, and as you exhale, sweep across the front of the body. Left arm lifts and sweep across the front of the body. Both arms come up. Interlace the fingers behind the back again for another chest expansion. You can bend the knees and extend over into a forward fold. Maybe this time there's a little bit more freedom in the shoulders. Breathing deep, bringing those shoulder blades together. And then inhale, come back up. Palms up to the sky and back to the chest. Inhale, raise the right leg up, and as you exhale, step back into high crescent. Ball of the back foot. Arms come up to the sky. Front ribs are in. Front knee is above the front ankle. Breathing deep in this high lunge. Getting a stable base. Bring the hands to the chest and plant the back heel. Heel to heel alignment, coming into warrior one. Hips are facing forward and arms come up to the sky. Hands can be together or shoulder width apart. Breathe in deep here, keeping that back arch active. Then bring the palms to the chest, moving into triangle pose. You may need a prop here, like a block. Otherwise, you can always put the hand on the shin. Arms come out to a T, reach out of the waist and tip forward over the front leg. Ground in the big toe mound of the front foot. The thigh is externally rotated. The spine is long, shoulders are stacked. If it feels okay, you can reach the top arm forward for extended triangle. Trying to use the core strength and not dumping all of your weight into the hand that's on the block or the leg or the floor. And inhale, come back up to standing. Rotate back to high crescent. Ground into the front foot and step forward. Swasktikasana. Side B. Inhale, left knee comes up to the front and then steps back, coming into crescent pose. Front knee over front ankle. Descending into the hips, back leg straight and strong. Heel lifted off the earth. Straight arms. Tall spine. Front ribs are in. Bring the palms to the chest. Transition into warrior one, heel to heel alignment. Hips are facing forward as best you can. Zipping up the midline and arms come up. I have heard this described as warrior 1.5. It's pretty tough to get the hips facing all the way forward. Do what you can do. Honor your body. Acknowledge where you are. Bring in the palms to the chest, transition into triangle. Heel to heel alignment, arms to a T, reaching out of the waist and tipping forward into this side bend. You can use a block, the shin, the floor, even bind the big toe, stacking the shoulders, lengthening out of the spine, keeping both sides of the waist long. Maybe extending the top arm forward for extended triangle pose. Externally rotating the front thigh, grounding into that front big toe mound. As you inhale, come back up to standing. Rotate back forward into a high crescent. Palms to the chest, step forward, Swasktikasana. Making our way down onto the ground. Feet come out quite wide, toes facing outwards. We'll sit down into yogi squat malasana. If this is challenging for you, you can always sit on a block or not come all the way down. This is so great for the health of the hips and the lower spine. If you find this challenging, then keep practicing and it will get easier every day. I never used to be able to do this pose, so it can come to you through consistent practice. Release the seat to the earth and we'll come into a hip stretch. This is Swasktikasana. The legs are bent at 90 degrees, so I'll show you here. The front thigh comes out of the hip directly. The knee is bent at 90 and the ankle is bent at 90 degrees, and the same with the back leg. So if you looked from above, it would look like a swastika. Tall spine, and on an exhale, If it feels okay, come forward over the front knee. This is a great stretch for the piriformis, which is a small muscle in the hip joint. You can put the elbows on a block or keep the body elevated. This is an alternative to pigeon, which can be quite challenging. You can also do figure 4 on your back if this is a bit too much. I find this a pretty nice stretch to do. Then on an inhale, come back up. Move the hands as wide as the mat. And we'll come into 5 of these little yogi press-ups, reaching out of the waist, folding at the hip crease. This is great for the mobility of the hips and stretching out the lower back, keeping the spine long. Over time, maybe doing this without using the hands. This is great for strengthening the spine. Rotate towards the front leg, coming into a twist. You can bring the elbows down, legs remain as they are. You're twisting the spine, leaning out to the side of the front leg. Easy breathing, quiet mind, observing the sensations. And then inhale, come back up, rotate back round to the midline, and we will change legs. This time the left leg is forward, bent at those right angles, and the right leg in those right angles as well, behind, reaching out of the waist, and then when you're ready, coming forward over the front leg, maybe down to the elbows, lengthening the spine, observing the sensations in the hip, in the glute, and settling here for a breath or so. Quietening the mind, connecting with the body. On an inhale, slowly come up, and we'll do those 5 press-ups again, reaching out of the waist, coming forward. Maybe seeing if you can move the mind to the spine, using the strength of the spine as well as the hands to move up and down in this position. Mindful movements in time with your breath. And then we'll move to that twist, twisting over towards the left side of the mat, keeping the legs where they are. Breathing deep. Start to move back towards the center line and swing the back leg around, coming into seated staff pose, and we'll move into a forward fold. Lengthening out of the waist, arms come up to the sky as you inhale, and as you exhale, fold from the hip crease, keeping the spine as straight as possible. Bring the hands to wherever they meet your body, descending forward and surrendering into the posture. Keep the feet flexed, backs of the legs are active, and allow the body to just drape forward with every breath, maybe a millimeter more of relaxation and surrender. Inhale, return the spine to a vertical position. Come over onto the back. Knees are bent, feet to the earth, arms extended in front, and use the core to slowly descend the body all the way down, super duper slow motion. And then when you get there, bring the feet flat to the earth, coming into a bridge pose, grounding the feet, inhaling and lifting the pelvis up to the sky, tailbone is long, and imagine it's pushing towards the backs of your knees, opening the quads here and the front of the hip. Nice counter posture to that folding forward. Shoulders are wide, jaws relaxed. And when you're ready, slowly bring the seat down to the earth. We'll move into Savasana. I did a reclined butterfly version. This feels nice on the hips. You can place some blocks either side of the thighs to help support the groin. Close the eyes and surrender into the earth. I have a poem for you. It's called Natural Clock, a poem on aging, pain and mindset. Minutes go by the clock counting age. Aware of their sonorous passage, my joints conduct the cracking message, biologically confused. Not a rock, my body is in the hands of a clock, or not. I own my flesh and can decide. Worn out from the daily transformation, my mind ages, desiring regeneration. Thoughts, like the sun's burning rays, the messengers of passing days, penetrate the epidermis like cancerous cells into the brain. Decay. Thought, it ought to manifest. That thought, charged with energy that fills atoms. Thinking nectar enlivens or poisons organs, the nerves and ligaments that conduct aches, but remembering that this space is all mine, an opportunity, emptiness to be filled. I own time, positive and negative, still ticking without a lock. I know now that I can wind the natural clock. Tick, tack. I change the sound so the clock goes by me. You can stay here for as long as feels good for you. Otherwise, we'll slowly start to move out of Shavasana. Maybe bring some awareness into the fingers and toes. And then when you're ready, bringing the knees in one by one into the chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. And roll gently over onto your favorite side, keeping the eyes closed, pausing for a moment. And when it feels good for you, slowly coming up to a comfortable seat. Bring the hands face down on the knees for that grounding again. Taking a moment to reconnect. Bring the palms to the chest. And I want to thank you for practicing with me today. I hope to see you again soon and you feel a little bit more bliss in your body. Thank you.